Have you noticed as you get older that adults aren't quite as switched on as we thought they were when we were children? When we were younger, we thought adults had all the answers and they knew what they were doing, but as we became adults ourselves, we started to see actually very few people have a fucking clue what they're doing. So why were we always listening to them? I've created a new term that I call mental puberty, which is the transition from child to adult psychologically. In a sense, it's what we really mean by growing up. And that's what I want to talk about today in this video. The word puberty typically means transitioning from child to adult physically, but this does not guarantee psychological growth. And if you're in your 20s or 30s, then by now you've discovered that you're surrounded by children living in adult bodies. People that look growing up but don't act it. Take a moment to consider the differences between a child's psychology and that of an adult. Children require rules. They do what they're told. They try to fit in. They let authorities decide right from wrong. They are ruled by their urges and needs. They lie to avoid trouble and consequences and responsibility. They allow themselves to be forced to do things they don't enjoy. They compromise their values to go along with their friends, and so on. How many adults do you know actually fit that description really well? And are you one of them? It's time for you to re-examine your beliefs and your principles. Where did they come from? How did you come to believe them? Those rules that you've been following for years, maybe even decades, where did those rules originate from? Did you decide on them yourself? Did you go through a trial and error experiment to figure out right from wrong and test everything empirically? Or were you told by somebody else and you've been following those rules ever since? Are you an adult or are you a child? When I look back at the way I was in my 20s, I see a lot of child psychology hidden in a man's body. I took jobs that were easy to take just to get money. I did whatever my bosses told me. I followed company policy even if it compromised my own integrity. I did whatever was necessary to keep my friends and to make people like me, even if it meant being dishonest or putting on a false performance to impress people. I often did things that I knew were bad for me in the long term simply because they felt good and comfortable to do, while I procrastinated on things that were good for me just because they felt a bit uncomfortable. I followed rules and laws and beliefs that I didn't agree with just to be a good little boy. And all of this combined together is the picture of a child, but in a man's body. And when I look back, I really see myself as a boy. When I was in my 20s, I didn't feel like an adult. I felt like an imposter, like I still had a teenage brain, but now I was stuck in an adult life. However, around the age of 25 or 26 maybe, when it first started, I decided that it was time to grow up. Decided it was time to stop being a boy and figure out what it means to be a man. Not by anybody else's definition, but by my own. Mostly what this meant is I had to let go of what I call inherited beliefs. These were beliefs that I had not formed myself. They had been given to me or imposed on me, or I'd been manipulated or conditioned into believing them, just like a child. These were beliefs that needed to be tested, that needed to be confirmed or denied. I kind of had to start over again, figuring out right from wrong and what it really meant to be a man. So I started to look at all these beliefs that I had and I felt really strongly about, yet I'd never proven or tested them. Things like, I can't talk to strangers, or don't say anything if you've got nothing nice to say. Beliefs like it's rude to interrupt people, or it's offensive to express sexual attraction. I had a lot of beliefs around emotions, like it's bad to be angry or sad or confused, and it's always good to be happy and calm and easy to manage. I believed that conflict was bad and that harmony was good, all the time without exception. I never really believed in God, but I did have a sense that the universe had some sort of balance, some sort of fairness to it, that if I was good, I would get rewarded, and if I was bad, I'd be punished. And good people had better lives than bad people. I believed that too. I even had really ridiculous specific beliefs like dancing is only for gay guys. When I stepped back and looked at it all, I realized most of this had not been tested. It seemed really intuitive, like this must be true, it looks right. But I'd never really tried to test it. I'd never really tried to break these beliefs and see what had happened. So I listed them all out and I started testing them. I talked to hundreds of strangers. I tried hobbies that I wasn't supposed to try. I initiated and conducted confrontations and conflicts, stood up for myself. I showed and expressed my anger and other emotions more often. I basically put everything I'd ever been told to the test. Guess what I found? It was all bullshit. Almost everything I'd been told to believe did not survive my testing. It was all crap. Total fucking crap. And I'm angry as I talk about this because I want you to hear what I'm saying. Most of what you believe is bullshit that's been fed to you by somebody else who had it fed to them. That's why I call it inherited beliefs. It's often passed on down the generations and it was never fucking true. There are so many things that you believe, so many limiting beliefs that keep you in a childlike state and prevent you from experiencing mental puberty, from transitioning into a confident, responsible adult. And it's all crap. To begin your mental puberty, you need to start by listing all the beliefs and rules and principles that you follow that you have not tested or confirmed within the last 5 years. Anything that you've been doing for a long time or following for a long time without rocking the boat, without putting it to the test in a significant way. How you interact with people, what you should be doing with your life and the kind of career and job you should have, the way you should treat your body, how you should structure your day, where you should live, all of it. If any of that has not been significantly tested in the last 5 years, it needs to come back onto the drawing board for another go. Another step is to figure out what your core values are, which is an ongoing, well, really a lifetime piece of work, but it starts with getting a list together. The Brojo Core Values course is free to the public. You can sign up below. There'll be some sort of link. And you'll be able to come up with a list of all the values and principles you think you should be following and be able to see how well you're following them and where you got them from and how legitimately genuine they are for you. Another great exercise is to draft up a description of what you think it means to be a good person. And once you've got every single bullet point you can think of listed down, cross out any of them that came from other people. Anything you were told was good by your parents or your friends or the media or the church or the society that you're exposed to. Anything that was somebody else's idea first, cross it off and see what you're left with. What are you left with that you decided on your own through repetitive life experience? What does it mean to be good in your eyes? Minus all the bullshit everybody else told you to believe. Then once you've got this all sorted out, get out there and start testing it. I really want to emphasize something clearly to you here. In my experience, most of the people, and I'm talking in the high 90% here, most of the people surrounding you have no fucking clue what they're doing with their life. They do a lot of stuff but they don't know why, or they have a why but it's made up, it's somebody else's reason. They're just following rules that they were conditioned to believe since they were children. They're following cultural principles and practices or religious virtues or what their parents think is right or what makes their friends give them approval. And then they tell you to live that way, but they don't have a fucking clue what they're supposed to be doing. They shouldn't be giving advice to anybody. Nobody can tell you how you should live. And if anyone does, you should treat them with suspicion. Keep them at a distance and be very skeptical. Because the only person who can figure that out is you, and that is mental puberty. Thank you so much for watching. I'd really love to hear your thoughts on this one, so please comment below and let me know what you think about what you were raised to believe and where you are in the transition from child to adult psychologically. Please share this around if you liked it, and please subscribe to the channel so that you get updates on the latest videos and help us expand our reach and support more people. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next time.